Imagine being able to influence the thoughts, feelings, and actions of others without using manipulation or deceit. Imagine that your power to influence comes from a deep understanding of human nature, empathy, and the ability to connect with anyone. In this book, we will reveal the art of influencing people in a way that makes your words and actions a powerful tool for achieving mutual understanding, trust, and positive change. You will learn how to ethically use your influence to make the world around you better, and start applying this knowledge today. The Subtle Art of Moving Minds. Published by Audiobooks HUB. Support our channel with a like and subscribe. Your support means the world to us. And now, let's get started. Imagine walking into a room and capturing everyone's attention without saying a word. Picture yourself in a conversation, effortlessly guiding others to see your point of view, all while they feel understood and valued. Influence is not about manipulation, it's an art, a skill that can be learned, refined, and mastered. In a world where connections and communication are more critical than ever, the ability to influence is a superpower. Whether you're leading a team, negotiating a deal, or building stronger relationships, influence helps you shape outcomes, inspire others, and unlock opportunities. This book isn't about tricking people or using underhanded tactics. Instead, it focuses on authentic influence, creating genuine connections, understanding others' perspectives, and finding win-win solutions. It's about mastering the subtle, often overlooked skills that enable you to make a positive impact on people's lives while achieving your goals. What makes this book different? Practicality. You won't just learn the theory of influence, you'll gain actionable tools and techniques you can start using immediately. Each chapter delves into a key principle of influence, from mastering body language to crafting persuasive messages, and ends with exercises to help you apply what you've learned. By the end of this book, you'll understand the psychology behind why people say yes, how to build trust and rapport in any situation, ways to become a better listener and communicator, strategies for handling objections and turning no into yes. More importantly, you'll discover how to use influence ethically, making a lasting, positive difference in your personal and professional life. The journey starts here. By committing to the ideas and practices in this book, you're about to unlock the doors to a skill set that can change your life. Ready to dive in? Let's master the art of influencing people. Understanding the foundations of influence. To master the art of influencing others, you must first understand the core principles that govern human behavior. Influence is not about overpowering someone's will, it's about creating alignment, inspiring action, and fostering trust. At its heart, influence is built on three pillars: psychology, communication, and connection. The psychology of influence. Why do people make the decisions they do? The answer lies in psychology. Here are key psychological principles that influence human behavior. Reciprocity. People feel compelled to return favors or kindness. When you give something, whether it's your time, attention, or help, others are more likely to want to help you in return. Practical tip: start small. Offer help or share useful resources without expecting anything in return. The goodwill you create will naturally lead to opportunities for influence. Scarcity. We value things more when they are rare or limited. Highlighting uniqueness or urgency can inspire action. Practical tip: when presenting an idea or opportunity, emphasize what makes it unique or limited. For example, this approach will save us time and resources, but only if we act quickly. Social proof: people tend to follow the actions of others, especially in uncertain situations. Seeing that others approve of or engage in something can make us more likely to do the same. Practical tip: share examples, testimonials, or stories of others who have benefited from what you're proposing. Authority: we're more likely to trust and follow people who demonstrate expertise or credibility. Practical tip: build your authority by sharing knowledge, demonstrating competence, and communicating confidently. Liking: we are influenced by people we like or feel connected to. Building rapport and finding common ground are crucial. Practical tip: pay genuine compliments, show interest in others, and mirror their communication style to build rapport. The role of communication. Influence begins with how you communicate. Words matter, but so do tone, body language, and timing. Consider these elements of impactful communication. Clarity: a confused mind resists influence. Ensure your message is clear and straightforward. Exercise: practice explaining complex ideas in simple terms to someone unfamiliar with the topic. Confidence: confidence is contagious. When you believe in what you're saying, others are more likely to believe you too. Exercise: record yourself speaking about a topic you're passionate about. Listen to identify areas where you could sound more confident or concise. Listening: the best influencers are great listeners. They understand others' needs, fears, and motivations before they speak. Exercise: during your next conversation, practice active listening. Repeat back what you've heard and ask follow-up questions to show you truly understand. Building genuine connections. Influence is not a one-time event, it's built on relationships. People are more likely to be influenced by those they trust and respect. Show empathy, understand and acknowledge others' feelings and perspectives. This doesn't mean agreeing with everything, it means making people feel heard and understood. Practical tip: use phrases like, "I see where you're coming from," or "that sounds challenging, how can I help?" Be consistent, reliability builds trust. Show up, follow through, and be consistent in your words and actions. Exercise: identify one area where you could improve your reliability, whether it's meeting deadlines, keeping promises, or being punctual. Give value first. Relationships thrive when there's mutual benefit. Look for ways to add value to others' lives before asking for anything in return. Practical tip: offer to help with a project, share knowledge, or make an introduction that could benefit the other person. Practical exercise. At the end of this chapter, reflect on the following. Identify one person you'd like to influence in your personal or professional life. Consider their needs, motivations, and challenges. What principles of influence could you use to connect with them? Write down 3 practical actions you'll take to build trust and rapport with this person over the next week. Key takeaways. Influence is rooted in psychology, effective communication, and genuine connection. Build trust by showing empathy, being consistent, and giving value first. Use principles like reciprocity, authority, and social proof to inspire action without manipulation. Influence is a skill that grows with practice. Small, consistent actions lead to lasting impact. Next, we'll explore how body language plays a pivotal role in influencing others, often communicating more than words ever could. Are you ready to dive deeper? Mastering body language to influence others. While words are important, much of the art of influence lies in what you don't say. Your body language, how you stand, move, and interact physically, communicates volumes about your confidence, intentions, and emotions. In fact, studies suggest that up to 93% of communication is nonverbal, making body language one of the most powerful tools in your influence arsenal. The power of first impressions. They say you never get a second chance to make a first impression. People form opinions about you within seconds of meeting you, often based solely on your nonverbal cues. Posture. Stand tall with your shoulders back. Good posture conveys confidence and authority, making others more likely to trust and listen to you. Exercise. Practice standing in front of a mirror. Observe your posture and adjust to ensure your back is straight, shoulders are relaxed, and your weight is evenly distributed. Eye contact. Making consistent but not overpowering eye contact signals confidence and sincerity. Avoid staring, but don't let your gaze wander too much, as this can signal insecurity or disinterest. Practical tip: when speaking to someone, aim to maintain eye contact for about 70% of the conversation. Break eye contact occasionally to avoid making the interaction feel intense. Smile. A genuine smile can disarm skepticism and build instant rapport. It signals approachability and warmth. Exercise. Practice smiling naturally by thinking of a happy memory or imagining a positive outcome before entering a conversation. Reading others' body language. Influence isn't just about projecting confidence, it's also about understanding others. By learning to read body language, you can gauge emotions, detect hesitation, and respond more effectively. Open versus closed posture. Open posture indicates comfort and receptiveness. Examples include uncrossed arms and legs, relaxed shoulders, and facing you directly. Closed posture signals defensiveness or discomfort. Look for crossed arms, tightly clenched hands, or turning away slightly. Practical tip: if you notice closed posture, try to create a more welcoming environment. Shift your tone or ask an open-ended question to ease the tension. Microexpressions. These brief, involuntary facial expressions reveal true emotions, even if someone tries to hide them. Learn to spot signs of surprise, anger, happiness, or fear in subtle facial movements. Exercise. Watch videos of conversations, interviews, or debates with the sound off. Focus on identifying emotions based purely on facial expressions and gestures. Mirroring. People naturally mirror the body language of those they feel comfortable with. If someone mirrors your gestures, it's a sign they're engaged and open to your influence. Using body language to influence. Mirror subtly. Mirroring someone's posture, gestures, or expressions creates a subconscious bond and builds rapport. For instance, if they lean forward slightly, do the same after a few moments. Caution: be subtle. Obvious mirroring can come across as insincere or awkward. Lean in to show interest. Slightly leaning in when someone speaks demonstrates attentiveness and engagement. However, maintain an appropriate personal distance to avoid making them uncomfortable. Gestures that reinforce your message. Hand movements can emphasize your points and make your speech more dynamic. For example, using an open palm gesture signals honesty and openness, while pointing can come across as aggressive. Exercise. Record yourself speaking in front of a mirror or camera. Observe your gestures and adjust to ensure they enhance rather than distract from your message. Anchor confidence with your stance. The way you stand can influence how people perceive you. A power pose, such as standing with feet shoulder-width apart and hands on your hips, can make you feel and appear more confident. Practical tip: before important meetings or conversations, spend 2 minutes in a power pose to boost your confidence. Nonverbal mistakes to avoid. Even small missteps in body language can undermine your influence. Be mindful of these common mistakes. Crossing your arms. This can appear defensive or closed off, even if you're just cold. Keep your arms relaxed or use them to gesture naturally. Fidgeting. Excessive fidgeting, like tapping your foot or playing with your pen, signals nervousness or impatience. Avoiding eye contact. Looking away too often can make you seem untrustworthy or uninterested. Overpowering presence. Standing too close or overusing gestures can make others feel overwhelmed. Respect personal space and keep movements controlled. Practical exercises to improve your body language. Daily observation. Spend a day observing people's body language during conversations. Notice how posture, gestures, and facial expressions align with their words. Record and reflect. Record a mock conversation or presentation. Review your body language and identify areas for improvement. Practice power poses. Spend 2 minutes each morning or before high-stakes situations practicing power poses to boost your confidence and set a positive tone for the day. Key takeaways. Body language communicates more than words and can significantly impact your ability to influence others. A confident posture, consistent eye contact, and a genuine smile are foundational for making a positive impression. Reading others' body language helps you adjust your approach and respond to unspoken cues. Avoid nonverbal mistakes like crossing your arms, fidgeting, or appearing too aggressive. By mastering body language, you lay the groundwork for powerful, authentic influence. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the art of storytelling, a tool that has captivated and influenced people for centuries. Ready to become a master of compelling narratives? Let's continue. The art of storytelling as a tool for influence. Stories have shaped human communication for thousands of years. They evoke emotions, spark imagination, and create a connection between the storyteller and the audience. If you want to influence others effectively, mastering the art of storytelling is essential. A well-told story can captivate attention, build trust, and inspire action in ways facts and logic alone cannot achieve. Why stories work. The power of storytelling lies in how our brains respond to narratives. Engagement. Stories activate multiple parts of the brain, making the listener more engaged. Instead of passively processing information, they feel as if they're part of the experience. Emotional connection. Stories make people feel. Emotions drive decision-making, and a good story connects with your audience on a deeper level. Memorability. People are more likely to remember a story than a list of facts. Stories create mental images that stick. Share experience. A well-crafted narrative fosters empathy, making the listener more likely to trust and align with the storyteller's perspective. Elements of a compelling story. To influence effectively through storytelling, you need more than a plot. You need to structure your story strategically. Relatable characters. Your audience must see themselves or their aspirations in your story's protagonist. Example: if you're sharing a success story, the hero could be someone who started with similar challenges to your audience. Conflict and resolution. Stories thrive on tension. Introduce a problem or obstacle the protagonist must overcome, then show how it's resolved. Practical tip: highlight the struggle as much as the solution. It's in the conflict that people become emotionally invested. A clear message. What's the takeaway? Every story should tie back to a key point or lesson that supports your message. Sensory details. Help your audience see the story by painting vivid pictures with words. Example: instead of saying, "She was nervous," describe, "Her palms were slick with sweat, and her heart pounded like a drum as she approached the stage." How to craft stories for influence. Know your audience. Tailor your story to the values, interests, and concerns of your audience. Example: if you're addressing a group of entrepreneurs, focus on resilience and overcoming failure. Start with a hook. Grab attention right away with a surprising fact, an intriguing question, or a dramatic opening. Example: imagine losing everything you've worked for in a single moment. That's exactly what happened to John. Build emotional peaks. Use your story's conflict and resolution to take your audience on an emotional journey. Build tension, then provide relief with a satisfying conclusion. Use authenticity. People can spot insincerity. Share genuine stories, whether from your own life, others' experiences, or well-documented examples. Types of stories that influence. Personal triumphs. Share how you or someone you know overcame adversity. These stories inspire hope and resilience. Example: when I started my career, I was rejected by 20 companies before I landed my dream job. Here's what I learned. Cautionary tales. Highlight the consequences of poor decisions or missed opportunities to motivate change. Example: a colleague once ignored the importance of preparation, and here's how it cost them dearly. Vision stories. Paint a picture of a better future that your audience can aspire to. Example: imagine a world where everyone communicates openly and conflict dissolves into collaboration. That's the vision we're working toward. Transformational stories. Show how a shift in perspective or behavior led to profound change. Example: after a single conversation, I realized I had been sabotaging my own success. Here's how I turned it around. Storytelling techniques. Use a narrative arc. Setup. Introduce the characters and setting. Conflict. Highlight the challenge or problem. Climax. Show the turning point or peak moment of action. Resolution. Wrap up the story with a satisfying conclusion. Pacing matters. Slow down during emotional or critical moments to let the audience absorb the significance. Speed up during less important transitions to maintain interest. End with impact. The closing line of your story should reinforce your message and leave a lasting impression. Example: and that's how I learned the importance of always listening before speaking. It's a lesson that changed my life. Practical exercises for storytelling. Story inventory. Write down 5 to 10 personal or professional experiences that taught you valuable lessons. Practice retelling these stories with a clear message. Audience testing. Share your stories with a trusted friend or colleague and ask for feedback on clarity, engagement, and emotional impact. 1-minute stories. Practice telling a complete story in 60 seconds to improve your ability to be concise and impactful. Key takeaways. Storytelling is a powerful tool for influence because it engages emotions, fosters connection, and leaves a lasting impression. Craft stories with relatable characters, clear conflict and resolution, and a meaningful takeaway. Use authenticity and vivid details to make your narratives more compelling. Different types of stories: personal triumphs, cautionary tales, vision stories, and transformational stories, serve different purposes in influencing others. In the next chapter, we'll explore the role of emotional intelligence in influence. Understanding and managing emotions, yours and others, is a skill that can amplify your ability to inspire and lead. Ready to take the next step? Let's continue. Emotional intelligence, the core of influence. At the heart of every interaction lies a simple truth: people are driven by emotions. Whether they realize it or not, emotions shape decisions, spark actions, and create connections. This is why emotional intelligence, EI, is one of the most critical tools in the art of influence. It enables you to understand others, manage emotions effectively, and create meaningful connections that lead to trust and cooperation. In this chapter, we'll explore how emotional intelligence can elevate your ability to influence, provide techniques to enhance your EI, and show how to apply it in everyday interactions. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions while also being attuned to the emotions of others. It's comprised of 5 key components. Self-awareness, understanding your own emotions and how they affect your behavior. Self-regulation, managing your emotions constructively rather than letting them control you. Motivation, harnessing emotions to drive actions toward goals. Empathy, recognizing and understanding the emotions of others. Social skills, building strong relationships and navigating social situations effectively. When applied effectively, emotional intelligence enhances communication, strengthens relationships, and builds the foundation for influence. Why emotional intelligence is crucial for influence. Trust building. People are more likely to trust and follow someone who demonstrates understanding and care for their feelings. Conflict resolution. High EI allows you to navigate disagreements without escalating tension, finding solutions that work for everyone. Motivating others. Understanding what drives people emotionally helps you inspire action. Adaptability. In dynamic social environments, being emotionally attuned enables you to adjust your approach based on the situation. Developing emotional intelligence. Build self-awareness. Keep an emotional journal. At the end of each day, write down moments when you felt strong emotions. Reflect on what triggered them and how you responded. Ask for feedback. Others often see things about us that we don't. Ask trusted colleagues or friends for insights into how your emotions affect your behavior. Practice self-regulation. Pause before reacting. When you feel anger, frustration, or anxiety, take a deep breath and count to 5 before responding. This creates space for thoughtful action. Reframe your thoughts. Replace negative self-talk with constructive perspectives. For example, instead of thinking, "This is impossible," say, "This is a challenge I can figure out." Cultivate empathy. Active listening. Pay full attention to what others are saying without interrupting. Focus on their words, tone, and body language. Perspective taking. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Ask yourself, how would I feel if I were in their situation? Validate emotions. Acknowledge others' feelings without judgment. For instance, say, "I can see why you'd feel that way," to show understanding. Strengthen motivation. Set emotional goals. Identify what emotions you want to cultivate, e.g., confidence, calmness, and practice behaviors that reinforce those emotions. Celebrate progress. Acknowledge small wins in your journey to maintain a positive emotional state. Enhance social skills. Observe nonverbal cues. Pay attention to facial expressions, gestures, and tone of voice to better understand unspoken emotions. Practice open communication. Be clear and honest in your interactions, ensuring your words align with your intentions. Build rapport. Use small gestures, like remembering someone's name or interests, to foster stronger connections. Applying emotional intelligence to influence. Adapting to emotional states. People's moods and emotions can shift quickly. Being attuned to these changes allows you to adjust your approach in real time. Example: if a colleague seems stressed, acknowledge their feelings and offer support instead of pushing your agenda immediately. Leading with empathy. Empathy makes people feel heard and valued, which fosters trust and cooperation. Example: in a negotiation, instead of focusing solely on your goals, show genuine interest in understanding the other party's needs and concerns. Managing group dynamics. In group settings, emotional intelligence helps you navigate different personalities and maintain harmony. Example: if tension arises during a team meeting, acknowledge the issue and guide the group toward constructive solutions. Turning conflict into opportunity. With high EI, conflicts can become opportunities for growth and connection. Example: if someone criticizes your idea, respond calmly and ask for clarification. This demonstrates maturity and can lead to productive discussions. Practical exercises to boost emotional intelligence. Emotion check-ins. Set an alarm 3 times a day to pause and identify your current emotional state. Note any patterns over time. Empathy mapping. Choose someone you interact with regularly and map out what you think their emotional needs, fears, and goals are. Reflect on how you can better support them. Gratitude practice. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Gratitude shifts focus away from negative emotions and builds a positive outlook. Role-playing scenarios. Practice handling difficult conversations with a friend or mentor, focusing on empathy and self-regulation. Key takeaways. Emotional intelligence is essential for influence because it helps you understand and connect with others on a deeper level. Developing self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, motivation, and social skills will enhance your ability to lead and inspire. Practical exercises, like journaling emotions, active listening, and empathy mapping, can improve your EI over time. Applying emotional intelligence allows you to navigate conflicts, adapt to emotions, and build trust in all your interactions. The science of persuasion, unlocking the keys to influence. Persuasion is an art, but it's also a science. Understanding how people think, decide, and act allows you to nudge them in the direction you want. At its core, persuasion isn't about manipulation or trickery. It's about guiding others to see the value in your ideas, products, or goals. In this chapter, we'll delve into scientifically proven principles of persuasion, explain how they work, and provide actionable tips to apply them in your interactions. Whether you're negotiating a deal, leading a team, or convincing a friend to join your cause, these techniques will transform your ability to influence. The 6 Principles of Persuasion. Dr. Robert Cialdini, a pioneer in the field of influence, identified 6 universal principles of persuasion in his book Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. These principles are rooted in human psychology and are effective across cultures and contexts. Reciprocity. People feel obligated to return favors or kindness. How it works: when you give something, help, a compliment, or a small gift, people often feel compelled to reciprocate. Example: offering a free trial or helpful advice makes the other person more likely to engage with or support you. Practical tip: start by giving value without expecting anything in return. For instance, in a negotiation, share a helpful resource or offer a concession to build goodwill. Commitment and consistency. People like to act consistently with their previous commitments. How it works: when someone agrees to a small request, they're more likely to agree to a larger, related request later. Example: a customer who subscribes to a free newsletter is more likely to buy your product later because they've already engaged with you. Practical tip: start with small yes. For example, ask someone to support a cause by signing a petition before requesting a donation. Social proof. People look to others' actions to decide what to do, especially in uncertain situations. How it works: seeing others endorse or engage with something creates a sense of trust and credibility. Example: online reviews, testimonials, and bestseller labels influence buying decisions. Practical tip: highlight positive feedback, success stories, or endorsements from others to build credibility in your persuasion efforts. Liking. People are more likely to say yes to those they like. How it works: factors like shared interests, compliments, and genuine warmth create a connection that fosters agreement. Example: salespeople often build rapport with customers before pitching a product. Practical tip: focus on building genuine relationships. Find common ground and express appreciation for the other person. Authority. People tend to trust and follow experts or those in positions of authority. How it works: a doctor's recommendation carries more weight than a friend's opinion when it comes to health-related decisions. Example: displaying credentials, awards, or affiliations boosts your credibility. Practical tip: establish your expertise early in the conversation. Share relevant qualifications, experiences, or data to back your claims. Scarcity. People value things more when they perceive them as rare or limited. How it works: limited time offers or exclusive opportunities create urgency and increase desire. Example: only 2 seats left. Messages and online booking platforms push people to act quickly. Practical tip: highlight the unique or time-sensitive aspects of what you're offering to encourage action. Blending principles for maximum impact. While each principle is powerful on its own, combining them creates exponential influence. Example: a marketer might use social proof, 10,000 happy customers, scarcity, limited stock available, and authority, recommended by experts, to persuade buyers. In practice, when asking for a raise, emphasize your expertise, authority, share how peers in similar roles have been rewarded, social proof, and mention the timing, scarcity. Practical exercises to enhance persuasion skills. Create reciprocity opportunities. Write down 3 ways you can give value to people in your life, whether it's a thoughtful gesture, advice, or support. Start incorporating these into your interactions. Test social proof. In your next request or presentation, reference others' positive experiences or support. Note how this influences the response. Practice liking. Identify one person you want to persuade and spend time building rapport. Focus on finding common ground and expressing genuine interest in their goals or concerns. Use scarcity strategically. Craft a message highlighting something exclusive or time-sensitive. Observe how it affects others' willingness to act. Applying persuasion in real-life scenarios. Persuading in business. Scenario: convincing a potential client to choose your services. Strategy: combine authority, demonstrate your expertise, liking, build rapport, and scarcity, highlight limited availability. Influencing in personal relationships. Scenario: encouraging a friend to adopt healthier habits. Strategy: use commitment and consistency. Start with a small, manageable change, and liking, express care and support. Negotiating deals. Scenario: closing a deal with a supplier. Strategy: leverage reciprocity, offer a concession, social proof, share testimonials from other satisfied partners, and authority, mention your experience in the industry. Ethics of persuasion. While these principles are powerful, they must be used ethically. The goal is to create win-win situations, not to manipulate or exploit others. Golden rule: ask yourself, would I feel comfortable if someone used this approach on me? Key takeaways. Persuasion is a blend of science and art, grounded in human psychology. The 6 principles: reciprocity, commitment, social proof, liking, authority, and scarcity, are universally effective. Combining multiple principles amplifies your influence. Practice these techniques regularly, but always with integrity and respect for others. The power of storytelling: crafting narratives that influence and inspire. Since the dawn of time, storytelling has been humanity's most powerful tool for connection and influence. Long before written language, people passed down knowledge, values, and lessons through tales around the fire. Today, stories still hold the power to captivate attention, evoke emotion, and inspire action. In this chapter, we'll explore why storytelling is such an effective tool for influence, the components of a compelling story, and practical ways to incorporate storytelling into your daily life. Why stories work. Facts and statistics may inform, but stories move people. When we hear a narrative, we empathize with the characters, imagining ourselves in their shoes. Example, instead of saying, 1 in 5 children go hungry, tell the story of a specific child and their struggles. Stories simplify complexity. A well-told story can make complex ideas relatable and understandable. Example, explaining a new product feature through a customer success story is far more engaging than listing specifications. Stories build trust. Authentic storytelling creates a sense of familiarity and trust. People are more likely to connect with you when they understand your journey. The anatomy of a great story. Every memorable story has key components that make it resonate with the audience. A relatable hero. The protagonist should be someone the audience can identify with or root for. This doesn't mean the hero must be perfect. In fact, flaws make them human. Example, a struggling entrepreneur who overcomes adversity is far more inspiring than a billionaire born into wealth. A clear goal. The hero needs a purpose or objective. What are they striving to achieve? Example, a teacher working to inspire underprivileged students to believe in their potential. Conflict or challenge. No great story exists without obstacles. Conflict creates tension and keeps the audience engaged. Example, a professional facing rejection after rejection before finally succeeding. Resolution and takeaway. A satisfying story offers closure and a lesson or insight the audience can apply to their own lives. Example, a person who overcame self-doubt shares how they learned to trust their abilities. The types of stories that influence. Not all stories are created equal. The type of story you tell depends on your goal. Personal stories. Share experiences from your own life to create authenticity and connection. Example, a time you faced failure but persevered, inspiring others to do the same. Success stories. Highlight how you or someone else achieved a goal, focusing on the steps and mindset required. Example, a customer who used your product to solve a major problem. Cautionary tales. Warn others by sharing examples of what happens when things go wrong. Example, a story of someone who ignored key advice and faced negative consequences. Visionary stories. Paint a picture of what the future could look like. Example, a leader describing the positive impact of a shared vision or mission. Practical tips for becoming a master storyteller. Start with a hook. Grab your audience's attention immediately with a surprising fact, a question, or a vivid description. Example, it was a cold winter night, and I had just $5 left in my bank account when I made the decision that changed my life. Keep it simple. Avoid overloading your story with unnecessary details. Focus on the core message. Example, a story about overcoming fear should emphasize the turning point, not every step along the way. Use sensory details. Engage the senses to make your story come alive. Example, instead of saying, "She was nervous," describe her trembling hands and the beads of sweat forming on her forehead. Make it relatable. Tailor your story to your audience's values and experiences. Example, a story about teamwork might resonate differently with a group of athletes versus a corporate team. Practice, practice, practice. Like any skill, storytelling improves with practice. Share your stories with friends, colleagues, or even in front of a mirror. Exercises to hone your storytelling skills. List 3 moments in your life that taught you important lessons. Think about how these moments can inspire or influence others. Rewrite a boring story. Take a mundane event, like a trip to the grocery store, and rewrite it with vivid details, conflict, and resolution. Practice telling stories aloud. Choose one story and tell it to a friend or record yourself. Focus on pacing, tone, and emotional expression. How to use storytelling to influence. In leadership, share stories of resilience to motivate your team. Use visionary stories to inspire belief in a common goal. In sales and marketing, highlight customer success stories to build trust and showcase value. Use cautionary tales to explain the risks of an action. In personal relationships, share personal stories to build deeper connections. Use storytelling to explain your feelings or perspectives in a relatable way. Case study: the power of storytelling in action. Scenario: convincing a community to support a charity. Instead of saying, "Donate to help families in need," a storyteller begins with, Maria was a single mother struggling to provide for her 2 children. She worked 2 jobs, but it was never enough. Last year, with the help of this charity, she got back on her feet. Today, she owns a small business and is giving back to the same community that once helped her. This story tugs at heartstrings, humanizes the cause, and inspires action. Key takeaways. Stories are powerful because they evoke emotion, simplify ideas, and build trust. A compelling story includes a relatable hero, a clear goal, conflict, and resolution. Different types of stories, personal, success, cautionary, and visionary, serve different purposes. Practice storytelling regularly and tailor your narratives to your audience. Emotional intelligence, reading and responding to people in real time. Have you ever met someone who seems to instantly understand others? They know what to say, how to say it, and when to say nothing at all. This isn't magic, it's emotional intelligence, EI, in action. Mastering EI allows you to read people's emotions, adapt to their needs, and respond in ways that build trust and influence. In this chapter, we'll break down how to develop and apply emotional intelligence to become a more effective influencer. You'll learn how to read verbal and nonverbal cues, manage your own emotions, and create meaningful connections that leave a lasting impact. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your emotions while also being able to recognize and influence the emotions of others. It has 4 key components. Self-awareness. Understanding your own emotions and how they affect your thoughts and actions. Example: realizing that frustration might make you speak more sharply and choosing to pause before responding. Self-management. The ability to regulate your emotions, staying in control even under pressure. Example: staying calm and composed during a heated discussion. Social awareness. Recognizing and understanding the emotions of others through verbal and nonverbal cues. Example: noticing someone's crossed arms and distant gaze, which might indicate discomfort. Relationship management. Using your understanding of emotions to build stronger relationships and resolve conflicts effectively. Example, mediating a disagreement between two colleagues by empathizing with both sides and finding common ground. Why emotional intelligence matters in influence. Builds trust. People are more likely to trust someone who understands and respects their feelings. Enhances persuasion. When you tailor your message to someone's emotional state, it resonates more deeply. Strengthens relationships. Emotional intelligence fosters empathy, which is the foundation of meaningful connections. Prevents miscommunication. By reading nonverbal cues, you can address misunderstandings before they escalate. How to read people's emotions. Developing emotional intelligence starts with learning to observe and interpret the signals others give. Pay attention to body language. Nonverbal cues often reveal more than words. Examples. Crossed arms, defensive or uncomfortable. Leaning in, engaged and interested. Avoiding eye contact, nervousness or lack of confidence. Listen to their tone of voice. The way someone speaks can convey a wealth of emotion. Examples. A calm, steady voice suggests confidence. A raised or shaky voice might indicate frustration or anxiety. Observe facial expressions. Microexpressions, brief, involuntary facial expressions, can reveal true feelings. Examples. A fleeting smile before a neutral expression might indicate suppressed happiness. A quick furrow of the brow could signal confusion or disagreement. Notice patterns in behavior. Pay attention to changes in someone's usual behavior. Examples. A normally talkative person becomes quiet, which might indicate stress. Someone who avoids social interactions might feel overwhelmed. Managing your own emotions. Influence begins with you. If you can't control your emotions, you'll struggle to connect with others effectively. Practice mindfulness. Being present helps you stay aware of your emotions and reactions. Exercise. Spend 5 minutes daily observing your thoughts without judgment. Develop a pause and reflect habit. Before reacting to an emotional situation, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what am I feeling? How might this emotion affect my response? Use emotional regulation techniques. Breathing exercises, slow, deep breaths can calm your nervous system. Reframing, shift your perspective to see a challenging situation as an opportunity. Responding to others with emotional intelligence. Understanding emotions is only half the battle. You must also respond appropriately to influence effectively. Validate their feelings. Acknowledging someone's emotions creates a sense of safety and trust. Example, I can see that this situation is frustrating for you. Let's work through it together. Mirror their energy. Subtly matching someone's tone and energy can build rapport. Example, if they're speaking softly, lower your voice to match their calm demeanor. Use empathy to address concerns. Put yourself in their shoes to find solutions that resonate. Example, if I were in your position, I'd feel the same way. Here's how I think we can solve this. Choose words that empower. Frame your responses positively to inspire action. Example, instead of saying, this might be hard, say, this is a great opportunity to grow. Exercises to build emotional intelligence. Emotional journaling. At the end of each day, write about moments when you felt strong emotions. Reflect on what triggered those emotions and how you responded. Empathy practice. Choose a recent interaction and try to see it entirely from the other person's perspective. How might they have felt? Nonverbal observation. Spend time in a public place and observe people's body language. Try to guess what emotions they might be feeling based on their expressions and gestures. Case study: emotional intelligence in action. Scenario: resolving a workplace conflict. Two team members are arguing over a missed deadline. Instead of taking sides, a manager with high emotional intelligence listens actively, pays attention to both individuals' perspectives without interrupting, validates emotions, acknowledges their frustration. I understand why this is upsetting for both of you. Seeks a solution, guides them to find a compromise, focusing on shared goals rather than individual blame. The result? The team resolves the conflict amicably and strengthens their collaboration. Key takeaways. Emotional intelligence helps you understand and influence others by connecting with their emotions. Develop self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management to enhance your EI. Learn to read body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions to understand others better. Manage your own emotions to remain calm, composed, and effective in any situation. Use empathy, validation, and positive communication to respond in ways that build trust and inspire action. The art of negotiation, creating win-win scenarios. Negotiation is not just a business skill, it's a life skill. From landing a job offer to settling a disagreement with a friend, the ability to negotiate effectively can transform your interactions. At its core, negotiation isn't about dominating the other party or getting the upper hand. It's about finding solutions that benefit everyone involved. In this chapter, we'll explore strategies to master negotiation by understanding the needs and desires of others, leveraging emotional intelligence, and building trust. By the end, you'll know how to create win-win scenarios where all parties feel valued and satisfied. Why negotiation is an essential skill. Negotiation is about more than achieving your goals. It's about preserving relationships while doing so. When done right, negotiation builds mutual respect and trust, strengthens partnerships and connections, leads to creative solutions that satisfy everyone involved, reduces the likelihood of future conflict. The foundation of successful negotiation. Understand your goals and priorities. Before entering a negotiation, clarify your objectives. What is your ideal outcome? What are your non-negotiables? What are you willing to compromise on? Practical tip: write down your goals before the negotiation to stay focused. Understand the other party's perspective. Great negotiators seek to understand the other person's needs and desires. This knowledge allows you to present solutions that appeal to both sides. Ask yourself, what does the other person want? What pressures or constraints might they be facing? Example: a landlord negotiating rent might be more flexible if they know you're willing to sign a longer lease. Build rapport and trust. People are more likely to agree with someone they trust and like. Spend time establishing a positive connection before diving into the negotiation. Use small talk to break the ice. Show genuine interest in their concerns. Core negotiation techniques. Active listening. Listening is your most powerful tool in negotiation. By truly hearing what the other person is saying, you gain valuable insights into their priorities. Tips for active listening. Maintain eye contact. Nod or use verbal affirmations like "I see" or "that makes sense." Paraphrase their points to ensure understanding. "So, what you're saying is..." Ask open-ended questions. Encourage the other party to share more by avoiding yes/no questions. Examples. What's most important to you in this deal? How do you see this benefiting both of us? Use the yes and technique. This technique involves agreeing with part of their statement while introducing your perspective. Example. Them, "I need this project completed by next week." You, "Yes, and I'd like to ensure the quality meets your standards. Can we prioritize the most critical tasks to meet the deadline?" Anchor your position. Start the negotiation by stating your ideal outcome. This creates a psychological reference point that shapes the rest of the discussion. Example, if you're selling a car, begin with a slightly higher price than what you're willing to accept. Offer multiple options. Presenting choices gives the other party a sense of control while keeping the focus on your terms. Example, would you prefer a discount for early payment or extended payment terms? Dealing with conflict and resistance. Negotiations don't always go smoothly. Here's how to handle pushback. Stay calm under pressure. Emotions can derail a negotiation. If you feel frustrated, take a deep breath and refocus on the shared goal. Acknowledge their concerns. Validation can diffuse tension and open the door to compromise. Example, "I understand why you feel that way. Let's explore a solution together." Reframe the conversation. Shift the focus from what's wrong to what's possible. Example, instead of "we can't agree on the price," try, "let's find a way to make this work for both of us." Know when to walk away. Not all negotiations end in agreement, and that's okay. Recognize when it's better to part ways amicably rather than compromising your values or goals. The power of collaboration in negotiation. The best outcomes arise when both parties work together to solve a problem. Collaboration fosters creativity and ensures both sides feel satisfied. Steps to collaborative negotiation. Clearly state the problem. Here's the challenge we're facing. Brainstorm solutions together. What ideas do you have for resolving this? Evaluate options. Which of these solutions feels most realistic for both of us? Agree on a plan. Let's move forward with this approach. Practical exercises for negotiation mastery. Role-playing scenarios. Practice negotiating with a friend or colleague. Take turns playing different roles, such as buyer and seller, to simulate real-world situations. Mirror and match. During conversations, subtly mirror the other person's body language and tone. This builds rapport and makes them feel understood. Evaluate past negotiations. Reflect on a recent negotiation. What went well? What could you have done differently? How did emotions impact the outcome? Case study, negotiation in action. Scenario, negotiating a salary increase. You've been performing well at work and feel it's time for a raise. Here's how an emotionally intelligent negotiator approaches the conversation. Prepare, research industry standards, and define your desired salary range. Build rapport. Begin the conversation by thanking your manager for their support. State your case. Highlight your contributions and how they've benefited the company. Listen actively. If your manager raises concerns about budget constraints, acknowledge their perspective. I understand this is a challenging time for budgets. Collaborate. Suggest alternative solutions, such as a performance-based raise in 6 months or additional benefits. The result? A constructive discussion that strengthens your relationship with your manager, regardless of the immediate outcome. Key takeaways. Negotiation is about finding solutions that benefit all parties while preserving relationships. Understand your goals, empathize with the other party, and build trust to create win-win scenarios. Use techniques like active listening, open-ended questions, and collaborative problem-solving to reach agreements. Stay calm, validate concerns, and know when to walk away if necessary. The power of persuasion, inspiring action. Persuasion is a cornerstone of influence. Whether you're pitching an idea, motivating a team, or asking for a favor, the ability to persuade others effectively can open doors and create opportunities. Unlike manipulation, persuasion is rooted in mutual respect and a genuine belief in the value of your message. In this chapter, we'll uncover the science and art of persuasion, exploring how to craft compelling arguments, appeal to emotions, and inspire action. By the end, you'll have a toolbox of techniques to persuade with confidence and integrity. What makes persuasion powerful? Persuasion is about more than changing minds, it's about inspiring action. The best persuasion builds trust. People are more likely to be persuaded by someone they trust. Resonates emotionally. Decisions are often driven by emotion, even when logic is present. Creates alignment. Successful persuasion aligns your goals with the needs and desires of others. The psychology of persuasion. Understanding human psychology is key to persuading effectively. Here are 6 universal principles of persuasion, based on Dr. Robert Cialdini's groundbreaking work. Reciprocity. People feel compelled to return favors. Example, offering a free resource or helpful advice increases the likelihood of others agreeing to your request. Scarcity. Limited availability makes something more desirable. Example, this offer is only available for the next 24 hours. Authority. People trust experts or credible sources. Example, referencing data, credentials, or endorsements boosts your persuasiveness. Consistency. People want their actions to align with their beliefs and values. Example, you've always prioritized efficiency. This solution aligns with that goal. Liking. People are influenced by those they like. Example, building rapport and showing genuine interest in others fosters likability. Social proof. People follow the actions of others. Example, thousands of customers have already chosen this option. Crafting a persuasive message. Know your audience. Effective persuasion starts with understanding your audience. Consider: what are their needs, desires, and pain points? What objections might they have? Practical tip: tailor your message to address their specific concerns. Start with a strong hook. Grab attention from the beginning with a compelling statement, question, or story. Example: what if I told you that you could save 20 hours a week with one simple change? Use clear and logical arguments. Support your message with facts, statistics, and examples. Structure your argument as follows. State your point. Clearly articulate your main idea. Provide evidence. Use data, anecdotes, or expert opinions to back up your claim. Explain the benefit. Show how it directly impacts your audience. Appeal to emotion. People are more likely to take action when they feel emotionally connected to your message. Example: instead of saying, "This product improves productivity," try, "Imagine having more time for the things you love, your family, your hobbies, your passions." Techniques for persuasive communication. Storytelling. Stories are memorable and evoke emotion. Use them to illustrate your points. Example: if pitching an idea, share a story about someone who benefited from a similar solution. Repetition. Repeating key points reinforces your message and makes it more likely to stick. Example: this method is simple, effective, and proven. Simple, effective, proven. Use power words. Certain words evoke strong emotions or create urgency. Examples include: imagine, you, because, proven, guaranteed. Create a call to action. End your message with a clear and specific action step. Example: join us today to start your journey towards success. Overcoming resistance. Not everyone will agree with you immediately. Here's how to address objections. Acknowledge their concerns. Show that you understand and respect their point of view. Example: I understand why you might feel hesitant about this change. It's a big step. Provide reassurance. Use facts or examples to alleviate doubts. Example: many people had similar concerns, but after trying this approach, they saw incredible results. Focus on benefits. Reframe objections by emphasizing the positive outcomes. Example: rather than seeing this as a risk, think of it as an investment in your future. Practical exercises for persuasion mastery. Practice empathy. Choose a recent disagreement and write down the other person's perspective. How might their concerns be valid? Practice framing your response to address those concerns. Create a persuasive script. Think of a situation where you want to persuade someone, e.g., asking for support on a project. Write a script using the principles outlined in this chapter. Analyze persuasive ads. Study advertisements or speeches that resonate with you. What techniques are they using? How do they appeal to emotions or logic? Case study: persuading a team to embrace change. Scenario: leading a team through a new initiative. Step 1. Start with a story. Share a success story from another team that adopted a similar change. Step 2. Use social proof. Highlight how competitors or industry leaders are already embracing the initiative. Step 3. Address concerns. I know change can feel daunting, but will provide the training and support needed to make this transition seamless. Step 4. Call to action. Let's work together to make this a success, starting with our kickoff meeting next week. Key takeaways. Persuasion is a skill that requires empathy, clear communication, and an understanding of psychology. Build trust, appeal to emotions, and craft messages that resonate with your audience. Address objections respectfully and emphasize mutual benefits. Practice persuasion regularly to refine your technique. Ethical influence, using power for good. In the previous chapters, we've explored the tools and techniques of influence and persuasion, from understanding psychological principles to crafting compelling messages. But with great power comes great responsibility. The ability to influence others can be incredibly powerful, but it must be used ethically and with integrity. In this final chapter, we'll focus on how to wield influence in a way that is not only effective but also ethical. We will examine the importance of respecting others' autonomy, building trust, and using influence to create positive change. What is ethical influence? Ethical influence involves using your power of persuasion in a way that is honest, transparent, and in the best interest of all parties involved. It's about leading others with respect, fairness, and empathy. Ethical influence does not mean manipulating people into doing something they don't want to do, but rather inspiring them to make choices that align with their own values and best interests. It's about fostering mutual benefit, where both parties feel valued and respected. Why ethical influence matters. When influence is used ethically, trust is built. Ethical influence cultivates long-term trust and loyalty. Respect is maintained. People feel respected and valued, which leads to stronger relationships. Positive change is achieved. Influence is used for the benefit of the individual, the group, and society at large. However, when influence is used unethically, through manipulation or deception, it can damage relationships, erode trust, and create harm. Manipulation may work in the short term, but it ultimately leads to resentment and a breakdown of the influence you've worked hard to build. Principles of ethical influence. There are several guiding principles that can help you use influence ethically and responsibly. Respect autonomy. Always give people the freedom to make their own choices. Respect their right to say no, and never pressure someone into making a decision they aren't comfortable with. Example, if you're trying to persuade someone to join a cause or invest in a project, respect their right to decline without making them feel guilty. Be transparent. Honesty is crucial in ethical influence. Be clear about your intentions, motivations, and the potential outcomes of any decision. Transparency fosters trust and shows that you respect others' ability to make informed choices. Example, when presenting an opportunity, share both the potential benefits and risks, allowing others to make an informed decision. Act with integrity. Integrity means being truthful, reliable, and fair in your interactions with others. Never mislead, deceive, or exaggerate facts to sway someone's opinion. Example, if you don't have all the answers or resources someone needs, acknowledge it instead of pretending otherwise. Prioritize mutual benefit. Influence is most effective when both parties benefit. Focus on how your proposal or action aligns with the interests and goals of the other person, as well as your own. Example, instead of pushing for an outcome that only benefits you, show how the decision will also benefit the other person. This creates a win-win situation. Using influence for positive change. One of the most rewarding ways to use your influence is by creating positive change. Whether in your personal life, at work, or in your community, influence can be used to inspire others to take action for the greater good. Inspire action through vision. People are often moved to act by a compelling vision of a better future. If you want to inspire change, create a vision that is both aspirational and achievable. Example: if you're leading a team through a challenging project, paint a picture of the success they can achieve by working together, emphasizing how their contributions will make a difference. Encourage others to find their voice. A true leader empowers others to speak up and take action on their own behalf. By encouraging others to use their voice, you help them feel valued and increase their own sense of autonomy. Example: ask for feedback from your colleagues, support their ideas, and create space for everyone to share their thoughts. Lead by example. People are more likely to be influenced by your actions than your words. Show integrity, empathy, and respect in everything you do, and others will follow suit. Example: if you want to inspire ethical behavior in your team, lead by example, treat everyone with respect, keep your promises, and act with honesty and fairness. Practical tips for ethical influence. Here are a few tips to help you apply ethical influence in your day-to-day life. Be empathetic. Before attempting to persuade, take the time to understand the other person's perspective. Listen actively, ask questions, and acknowledge their concerns. Build rapport. Influence is easier when you have a genuine connection. Build rapport by showing interest in others and establishing common ground. Practice self-awareness. Be mindful of your motivations and actions. Ensure that your intentions are aligned with your values and that you're not using influence for selfish gain. Seek feedback. Regularly ask for feedback on your approach to influence. This can help you identify areas for improvement and ensure that you're staying on the right track. Set boundaries. Know when to walk away. Not every attempt to influence will succeed, and that's okay. Respect the decision of others when they choose not to follow your lead. Case study: ethical influence in action. Scenario: a manager trying to inspire their team to adopt a new work process. Step 1. Begin by acknowledging any concerns the team may have about the change. This shows that you value their input and are open to discussion. Step 2. Share the vision. Explain how the new process will lead to improved efficiency and create more opportunities for the team. Step 3. Provide the necessary resources and support to make the transition easier. This shows that you're committed to helping them succeed. Step 4. Encourage feedback and collaboration, allowing team members to feel that they are part of the decision-making process. Step 5. Lead by example. Embrace the new process yourself and demonstrate its benefits. Key takeaways. Ethical influence is based on respect, integrity, and transparency. Always prioritize the well-being and autonomy of others in your approach. Use your influence to create positive, lasting change in your personal and professional life. Practice self-awareness and regularly seek feedback to ensure you are using influence responsibly. In this book, we've explored how to influence others with integrity, respect, and empathy. Whether you're persuading someone to embrace a new idea, leading a team, or simply building stronger personal relationships, the art of influence is one that can shape your life in powerful, positive ways. Now that you have the tools to influence others ethically, go out and use them to make a meaningful impact, both in your own life and the lives of those around you.